Hey guys, Get Level here, and today we're going to continue our series of OBS Studio basic tutorials for complete beginners. Last tutorial, I believe I showed you how to install OBS, the whole configuration for your settings, how to set up your camera, your game capture, or your display capture, basically get you ready to stream so that when you click go live, you're actually live on your platform and you have everything you need, your audio, your alerts. Except today, I kind of want to go back on the alert thing and I want to maybe do a little deep dive into it. I'm going to show you how to set it up really quickly so that you're ready. It'll be very similar to what we had in the previous video. And then we're going to go over and talk about customizing your alerts. All right. So if it's your first time watching this series, just know that it's not edited at all. Basically, I started this because some people were saying that I was speaking too fast and my jump cuts were confusing and people had a hard time following. So this whole series is for those people, for complete beginners, to make sure that they are not lost so that they can follow everything step by step, hopefully. All right. So I have OBS on my laptop right there. I have a huge mouse so that you can know where it is at all times. If I say click on this or click on that, you'll know where to click. And this is where we stopped last time. So we have our starting soon screen. I even forgot we did something that fancy. We have our full screen, just chatting. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the stream. I'm excited to play the game, blah, blah, blah. And then we have our game scene. Of course, we don't have an actual game here. Then we have a be right back. This is just like a wallpaper image with a text, okay? So as you can see on the full screen, especially over there, there's a little something saying that error, the alert box wasn't able to be loaded. That's because I deleted it from my Twitch. And I think I should have said that, but we're gonna be focusing on Twitch alerts today because unfortunately for people who don't stream on Twitch, Twitch alerts are the easiest ones to set up right now, as far as I know. And you'll see right now. So I'm gonna delete that. You can click on the little trash bin icon, or you can right click and go to remove. There you go. Or you can just press delete on your keyboard. All right, so let's open up Twitch. You're gonna go to your dashboard. That's by clicking on your name, top right, creator dashboard, and you'll see alerts right there. Okay, and here on the right, it should be empty for you if you don't have alerts at all. Or if you already have alerts, you can just click edit alerts. But basically the simplest and the fastest setup is create alert box. Mine is called alert box 3. We can see it up top here. And this already has everything you need. So you can see it has follow alerts, subscriptions, gifted subs. Even if you're not affiliate yet, this is ready basically. Bits, raids, if you have your Twitch, if you're doing a charity event, if you have a hype train, so if you get a bunch of subs and a bunch of bits in a short amount of time, it'll trigger a hype train. And then your viewers can unlock like emotes and stuff like that from the hype train, which is really cool. And then channel points, if you have custom channel points rewards and people redeem them, you can actually have an alert for that. You can see it's kind of new. And yeah, and you'll be able to know when someone redeems something. It'll basically grab your attention if you want that. There's also goals. If you're using the Twitch goals stuff, you can have a follower goal, a sub goal, and things like that. So once you reach the goal, you can have an alert. But as I said, this is all already set up. There's sound, there's animation. This is for the follow. You'll see this is what will appear on screen. At the bottom, we see the size of it, which is default size, also in OBS. So okay, I've been yapping a little bit. The easiest setup is go down, right, click copy. And this basically copies a secret link created for you, linked to your account with those alerts. Your alerts are basically a web page that's waiting for events to be triggered. The events are, follow, subscription. Basically, it's connected to Twitch, right? So if we go to OBS Studio and we want to bring that in, we would add something called a browser source, because a web page from your browser, you get the link. You want to call this alert box. Click OK. Oh, I still have it. So I'm going to call this alert box 2. But if it's your first, that's fine. And as you can see, the width and the height is also 800 by 600. So that's default. You don't have to touch that. And you just need to replace the link right there. And technically you're done. Something quickly we're gonna do is control audio via OBS. This will allow you to see your alert box in your sound mixer. So if you scroll down, I can see alert box too. That way I can actively control the volume when it's happening, right? If you have one alert that's too low and chat tells you, hey, that was very low or that was very loud, you can just go ahead and adjust that real quick. Or you can just test it and literally see how far it goes, how far that bar goes. If you go send alert test, it's gonna send a test and it should appear and you can see it in your mixer. So that's how you set up your alerts. Of course, you can place this anywhere. It's a source just like any other source. So filters will work with it. If you have an alert that is a certain color, you can add a color correction filter and change the color of the alert. It will just change everything in that alert box. So sub alerts, raid alerts, all the alerts we just saw, they're in there, okay? And all you have to do is make sure that you have this alert box. I'm gonna right click, copy, and make sure you have it everywhere else. I have the old one here, right click, paste reference, there it is. And you basically want your alerts to appear everywhere. You don't want a scene without alerts unless like you're doing something very specific, but I can't think of a specific scene where you don't want alert boxes because you literally want to be alerted every time someone decides to support you, basically, okay? And that's it. Like that's the basic alert setup. You're ready to go. You're ready to stream and you'll be completely fine. Now, let's get into the depth, the nuance, the intricacies. As I said, Twitch alerts are the easiest ones to set up because of this page and the fact that it's part of Twitch. You just go to Twitch, copy the link, bring it into OBS Studio. Now, there's something that that streamers will have that you might not notice here, and it's the tipping. The thing is, Twitch itself does not accept tipping, basically sending you money directly. They do the whole tipping through subs, of course, and through bits, where the money is converted. People pay a little bit more for bits, and then you get the exact same amount of bits that they send you, right? But tipping directly, like through PayPal and things like that, is not really a thing on Twitch. And we're actually not gonna cover that in this video, but I just want to let you know. If you're like, oh, how do I get tips via PayPal? You will have to use an external service, something like Streamlabs or StreamElements, and in order to have this this tipping thing. And then those services will also provide you with the widget, so with the donation or tip widget, to give you an alert for tipping. Okay? All right. Now that that is said, let's go ahead and talk about customizing. So how does this whole thing work? So Twitch basically, or any alert widget really, basically works with showing a custom text with the name of the user. There is a variable, if you will, a code to bring the name of the person who triggered the specific alert. And then there's a template text. So if we go and we click around, we should be able to find it. So general setting, you can see that I have new follow selected here. So that's what we're doing. Variant name is just the name that shows up here, so you can know what you're doing. Alert condition is if you get a new follow, usually you don't want to touch that. The duration of the alert, if you're like, oh, it's too fast, I can't read it off of my OBS, you can make it longer here. There's customized HTML and CSS because that's what this is. Ultimately, it's HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So you can inject your own code to make this look different, for example. Right? And then you have the animations. So if I do preview alert, you'll see that it actually fades in. And then after 10 seconds, it's actually going to fade out whenever it wants. Come on. Fade out. There you go. So you actually have more options. It doesn't have to fade in or fade out. You can make it roll in. And if I do preview alert, there you go. It rolls in. Awful transition. Awful. Keep it on fade in, honestly. Okay, so that's for the general settings, and it'll be the same general settings for all of them. You might have differences depending on the alert, but basically that's it. Then you have layout, and this is something you need to know about if you're gonna create custom alerts or if you're gonna download custom alerts from gumroad.com/getlevel, because I have an alert pack that'll be available very, very soon. I have a bunch of alert packs already available, but I have a new one that I'm working specifically for this. Okay. So right now we can see that we have image and then we have text at the bottom, right? So we can see here that this is selected by default. If we want text on top of the image, we can do that too. So if you just want to add an image that's just going to be a background, just be careful of the text. For example, white text on white background, not a good idea. You can have the text on top of the image, on the left of the image, etc. Right? But this is like the most standard way of setting it up. You can have drop shadow for the entire alert. Don't do that. Not really good. And that's it for layout. There's more, but whatever. Text and speech. So this is the template message that I was talking about. So username under curly brackets is where it's gonna pull the username of whoever followed. If you delete this by accident or anything, it's not gonna show the username, right? In fact, let me delete this by accident. And it's just gonna show the image and say just followed, right? But thankfully Twitch, when you click here, there's available variables, username, you can get this. I believe other services actually don't give you that option, so that's really cool. Which means that if you have some theme names for your followers or for your live stream, you can type whatever you want, right? So username has joined the dungeon. Am I writing dungeon right? Probably not. So things like that. So if you want to change the wording, that's how you do it basically. All right. So if you have like a space theme, you can do something like that. If you have like a Magic the Gathering type of theme, basically you can change that accordingly. And I think it's a nice touch. Here you can change the font. This is text and speech. So text here. You can choose whatever font you want. You can make it bold, normal, italic, depending on the font. The text layout, if you want it to be centered left, right, middle. You can change the accent color. So that's usually the username. If you have a whole color scheme and you want things to be red, for example, boom, you got it right there. And then text color. As I said before, if you have your layout to be on top of the image, right, and you don't want that white part to be like invisible like it is right now, you can change that and make it black. There you go. Also has follow doesn't mean anything, so has followed would make more sense, and things like that, right? Then you have drop shadow for the text. It's pretty cool, but maybe not on black text. And then, oh my God, get out of here. And then you have say alert text. So that's TTS. This will be read out loud. And then you have all the different languages, and then you have all the different voices, and you have volume control, right? So how loud do you want it to? But remember that we have the general alert control, alert box here. So we can always turn it down here, but that's going to be different from the sound that the alert actually makes, right? So TTS and sound different, but coming from the same source. Keep that in mind. And then there's delay, and I believe this is text delay. Delay between alert sound and text to speech. Never mind, this is text to speech delay. So basically the alert goes bring, and then you make it wait a couple seconds, and then it reads it out loud, right? So if you have music for 5 seconds, you can make it wait 5 seconds before it starts reading. So it doesn't, TTS plus music, it can get overwhelming really, really, really fast. All right, so that was text and speech. Then we have visuals and sounds. So that's exactly what we were talking about. Now, something cool about Twitch is that there's actually a whole library of animations. Now, of course, a lot of them are already assigned. Oh, I didn't realize I already uploaded my alerts. This is what my alerts are gonna look like. Stay tuned for that. But basically you have a whole bunch of alerts. Some of them are specific to their respective alerts. So raid is gonna say raid, or sub is gonna say sub. But then you have some other cool pixel art animations and all that. So you can choose exactly what your alert looks like if it's not specifically themed or something like that. They have a bunch of Halloween stuff for some reason. I'm guessing the whole alert system came out during Halloween. You can figure out those are like subtrains and things like that, charity. So I encourage you to go and actually check them out. Those are for bits, and you can create variations. So if you get 100 bits versus 500 bits, you can have a different alert, right? Those are created for that. But yeah, even if you don't like the default ones, make sure you look into all of this because you have some 3D ones here too. And then me, get level. If you go to gumroad.com/get level and you look up my alerts, you'll see that I have stream alerts here, for example, and those are also compatible because those are just like animations. So you can just go on your raid, on your sub, and those are different ones, right? So for your follow, for your bits, all of that is absolutely compatible. Just go to your Twitch, upload them, and you got it. I'll show you exactly where to upload them. Right there, upload file, and you go find the file, and that'll be it. Basically, that'll be it. You can also scale and mess with the volume here. And I believe up there, this is like the volume for the WebM file, because you can also have sound coming from the animation, which I don't recommend, but at least Twitch actually gives you control over it, which is really, really nice. I've never tested the scale, actually. That is actually awesome. That is actually better than other services. They don't give you that much control. What? I'm just discovering that. That's really cool. And then you have the sound. Unfortunately, you can't hear it because I don't have my setup in that way right now, but those are sounds. And also Twitch gives you not as much, but a bunch of sound. So here you can put whatever file, I think WAV, MP3. We can have a quick look at the other file formats it accepts by clicking on upload file and by just checking here. And you can see MP3, WAV, OGG. Is that it? Yeah, that seems to be it. So if you have any files that is any of that, it'll work. Fun fact, other services, some of them don't accept WAV at all because of the big file size. Some of them don't accept MP3 nor WAV and only accept OGG. So yeah, I'm so glad that I'm basically raising awareness that Twitch has a pretty robust alert system. People just need to go and customize it so it doesn't look as basic. Now, my favorite part about alerts is celebrations. Now, celebrations is basically a bunch of confettis or fireworks or whatever that happens on screen, and you actually need to go and manually turn them on. You can see I don't have them on for followers right now. I can click, turn them on, and then here I can see the layout. So the layout here is only on the video, so only on the player, because those happen on the website. Your viewers see them while on the website, which means that they'll see it on the stream only. Here they'll see it on the chat only. And then here they'll see it on the whole page, which is my favorite because it kind of blows people's minds. I'm gonna save my changes real quick. This is something you need to remember to do. And I don't remember if it's actually gonna show me the celebration. This is basically what the celebration is gonna look like, but think about it over the entire web page. I don't remember if I can test it or not. Let's try it out. So basically you would be here. And if I go send test alert, does it do it? Preview alert. It doesn't. That kind of sucks. I've done this so many times, I keep forgetting if you can or not. But yeah, and that's about it. So the whole celebration thing, you can decide to put it for specific alerts. Right now I have it turned on for follows. I can turn it off and then go to subscriptions and say that only Prime subs get that. Let's forget to save changes. And now if I go to Prime subs, I have Prime subs selected. I can turn on celebrations for Prime subs only, right? It can be gifted subs. It can be for raids and things like that. So I'd say use it sparsely. Don't use it for every alert because it's a lot. Really use it in a way that makes it feel special when it finally happens, so that your chat will want to trigger that specific alert again, okay? And since we already added our link, it actually doesn't change. It's our specific link. And you can see that since it's our specific link, that's why it's like hidden here. Basically, it should be all set. If I go send test alert and I go to OBS, you can see that I have it here. So the celebration, so the confetti, the fireworks, is not going to show up on OBS. So if you don't see it on OBS, that's completely normal. It's supposed to show on Twitch when you're live, and it works. It's something that I've been doing for a while now. What else is there to say? Twitch also tells you certain things in chat. For example, when you get a sub, it will actually appear in chat. So if for some reason you miss the alert, like you didn't hear it, or you know the game was too loud while the alert triggered, you can always look at chat for certain things. I believe for follows, it doesn't tell you. So this is where people use like external bots and things like that, unless Twitch has a way of telling you in chat. But setting up TTS also might help you to let you know that, hey, someone followed. I haven't actually tested TTS on Twitch yet, so I will, and I might let you know in the next video. But yeah, that's pretty much it for customizing and doing all sorts of stuff. So if you know CSS, for example, setting up like custom CSS will probably help you. Just remember where things are. Like I don't right now exactly know where custom CSS is. Is that under general settings? It is. So if you go to custom, like I just turned it on here, if you go to yes, enter custom mode, it'll probably break your alert. Oh, actually it doesn't. And then here it shows you the HTML, and you can access the CSS. You can insert images. You can insert emotes. You can insert an empty image. You can have access to the variables. This is great. This is my first time opening this particular thing, and yeah, better than some of those external services. I know recently we had kind of a scare. There's a big service that everyone was using, StreamElements that is, and there were rumors that it was going to shut down. So people were panicking and saying, oh my God, where am I? What am I going to do? And stuff like that. The truth is you don't necessarily have to use anything external, except if you need tips. If you're going to have a tip system. But to be fair, I think if you're exclusively going to stream on Twitch, you don't necessarily need the tipping system. People grew accustomed to subscribing and giving bits. I don't stream super often, but I know that me personally, people basically stop tipping for a while. I rarely, like tipping is the thing that I get like the least, basically. People will buy stuff off of my wish list before they tip nowadays. So you're not necessarily missing out unless you plan on having a stream where, you know, you're heavily into tipping and you give people rewards and things like that. Because Twitch has like a terms of service on how you can use bits and subs, there's certain things you cannot do in exchange for subs. And in that case, using tipping or something external to Twitch basically might be a better idea. So you stay within a TOS. Okay? Okay. I think that's it. For the audio for the alert, watch my previous video. I'm not going to cover it here because I already covered it, but also I feel like it's more of an audio thing. So yeah, in my previous video, I cover exactly how I'm still looking at the other camera. I covered how you can hear your own alert and have chat hear it. And most importantly, not have it heard twice while you're streaming. Okay. Let me switch back to this camera so I can give you my finishing statement. This whole thing is improvised, by the way. I don't have a script. On top of that, I'm not going to edit it. So yeah, if you have any questions, if you feel like there's some things that are missing, let me know. If you're already knowledgeable on the subject and you see people asking questions, feel free to actually help them too. The streaming community is super selfish, which is something that you're gonna learn with time. So I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to let people know, remind people that, hey, you can also help other streamers. Don't view other people as competition. We're all like, there's an audience for everyone. So you actually don't gain anything by gatekeeping resources, right? Everything here is free. This whole OBS series for complete beginners could have been like a course that I could sell, but I refuse to do that for now. I'm not desperate enough yet. Anyways, follow me on Twitch because I stream sometimes, and make sure you subscribe to this channel so you can catch more tutorials. And let me know what should be next. I actually don't have a clear idea of what the next step would be in live streaming yet. So give me some suggestions. I'm open to it. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching me yap. Bye-bye.